Also, first, can I just say thank you for joining us on the night of your premiere? I know you're dashing off straight from after Leicester Square, so unfortunately we can't keep you too long. So I'll start off with a couple of more questions, then I'll throw out. I'm sure people here have got questions. I would ask, when you ask your question, if you could let us know what you're from, which publication or which website, that would be very helpful for us. So, Paul, if I could start from you, where did Daniel's story come from for you?
Well, I suppose lots of things fit into it. First of all, thanks for coming. It's always to see you coming around and sticking around for the question and answers. And there was lots of things that fed into Andy. But I suppose, I think what really struck us was just the cruelty to some of our most vulnerable people. I suppose we found it kind of fascinating that some of the people who are sickest in our society, where it was outsourced, the assessment of these people was outsourced to an American multinational called Maximus. And I spoke to lots of doctors who told us about cases of their patients. They were just, mind-blowing. And then another thing that struck us too was the great campaign against people on welfare. People, for example, in disability benefits, they found out that they suffer 6 times more than anyone else. And we just had a sense that there was tremendous abuse and frustration and anger that was going on under the surface. So we went along to a lot of food banks from the north of the country, up in Glasgow, right away down south, and we wanted to find out what people's lived experience was beyond the legislation, beyond the stereotypes. And we just heard remarkable stories of people choosing between eating their house and feeding themselves. We heard people just talking about the experience of hunger. What it felt like, what it was like on the third day, how nauseous you felt, in the most casual fashion. We talked to parents who were feeding their children biscuits. And a year before the film, there were something like 1 million sanctions that took place. So that was 500 times the misery that we've seen in Daniel Blake. And what was remarkable, we could have told a much tougher story. There was much more raw stories. But Daniel Blake and Katie Morgan are 2 bright, articulate people who, in many ways, their life is going quite well. They haven't got learning difficulties, they've got support, they're bright people. And so we thought that it was really worth trying to dig in and find a story that would touch on all of us.
Just at this juncture, please welcome Ken Loach.
I like to dominate you. With your feet. I don't want my legs. My legs will be long enough.
Ken, welcome.
Sorry, I'm late.
Welcome. A fantastic film. Paul just sort of set this up for us. Can I ask you, why was sort of Newcastle Gateshead that area right for this story for you?
Well, we could have told the story anywhere. I guess Paul said we went. We started in my hometown, actually, in Nuneaton, in the Midlands, and we went to the Midlands. We went west, northwest, northeast, Scotland, and we heard the same story everywhere. But Newcastle's got a rich culture. It's a city built on struggle. The old industries have died. Shipbuilding, or been killed off. Shipbuilding, coal mines. So people have had a lot of hardship there. But it's also an area with a spirit of resistance. The dialect is made for comedy and as well as being a very sharp, interesting way of speaking. And there's also the city centre is appears quite affluent. So there's a sense of the poverty coexisting with affluence, which we thought other people outside that area might identify with. But it's a great place to work. The only downside was that Newcastle weren't doing so well in the football. But
games you went to see 3 games on Trent.
Dave's a local. Is this a city you recognise?
What, Newcastle?
Well, this vision.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's coincidentally Biker, where we filmed a lot of the scenes, was it was where I was brought up. So my mum used to take me on Shields Road, where we filmed some of Gately scenes and that. So, but the Biker that I remember as a kid is a different Biker than it is now, because there was a very close-knit working class community. Social housing, there's none of that now. And people in Biker, they're trying to make it work, but it's quite a struggle for them. So yeah, it was quite interesting to be filming in areas where I was brought up as a kid. Yeah, but it's not the same now because of that working class sort of knitted community is gone now.
Hayley, Paul's already mentioned the food banks. Obviously, one of the most harrowing scenes in this is the scene with Katie in the food bank. Could you just tell us a little bit about that scene and preparing for that and how it was for you filming it, because the impact it has on an audience is really something.
The food bank that you see in the film is a real working food bank. It's the largest or one of the largest in the country. And the women who come and help Katie, who help with her shopping and help her when she gets ill, are the women who work there, who volunteer there. And the majority, I think all of the people actually that you see in that scene, aside from myself, Dave and the two kids, have some connection with the food bank, be it they've used it or they've been in touch with it for support in one way or another. One thing, the food bank thing is so interesting because I think there's such a lack of education about it. I mean, it's a real shame that we have to have them in our country, the fifth richest economy in the world. The fact that we have food banks is just shocking. And it was at the heart of Paul's research when he was writing the script. In 2015, just shy of 500,000 children were fed via food banks. It's shocking when you really think about that number. So I went along to the food bank about 2 or 3 days before we shot the scene, and it was probably the hardest part of the research because there's such a fragility to, as an adult, when you've reached the point that you're not able to feed yourself, and a doctor or a social worker refers you to a food bank so you can go and get a 3-day emergency supply. It's such a loss of dignity. A lot of the people that I met, it felt like a loss of dignity. And they were bright people. I spoke with a woman who had a master's degree in biochemistry. Very, very bright woman who'd had a couple of mishaps in her life and wasn't able to get back on her feet. So it was very fragile, and then I came back and spoke to Ken about the fact that it was very fragile and very delicate. And then prior to shooting it, about 4 days before shooting it, I went on a kind of semi-fast. I mean, I like my food too much. So I was eating kind of small bowls of soup. And Ken and I spoke about the fact that it wasn't so much about the physical weight loss in a kind of, Christian Bale Fassbender way, but more about what that does to you mentally. Because if you haven't eaten properly for 4 days, it means you haven't slept properly, and it means you're dealing with a tremendous amount of stress. And then when you get a kick of adrenaline, when Katie has to do what she does, it sends an adrenaline through your body that puts the emotion on the surface. So I think it's very important to say that that what happens to Katie in the film happened to a woman that Paul met in his research. And I think it's always important to say, there was a woman earlier on who was a journalist who came and did an interview with us, and we only found out after then, didn't we, that she'd made a comment about the fact that, it was over the top. The moments happening in this film are over the top. And what I love is that I can say, no, each of these key moments that happened to both Daniel and Katie happened to people that Paul met during his research. And it's important to say that, I think.
Absolutely. Let's throw out some questions. Darryl?
Question at the back for Paul and Ken. I saw you long enough to come to the end. Thank you to the Department of Work and Education. People working within it have to remain anonymous. Are the people working within the system pulling their hair out?
Thanks very much for that question. I'm really glad you picked that out because we're very, very keen not to demonise workers within the Department of Work and Pensions. And it's a terrific question because there's systematic bullying against the people who work inside the Department of Work and Pensions too. So the information that we got from these whistleblowers was absolutely key because what you see is a propaganda and a facade about what is happening, if it's reasonable and everything is taking place, but it's the nitty-gritty inside that you've got to find out about. And just to give you one example, one worker showed me his name, the name of all his fellow colleagues, and the number of sanctions that carried out that month, with a letter from the area manager saying only the top 3 had carried out enough sanctions. And if they didn't, up the game, they were going to face something called PIP, which is their speak for a personal improvement plan. And then I actually met one guy who was put in a personal improvement plan, was fired, and ended up in a food bank himself. And then it was very interesting talking to the older workers too. And many of the people who played the part in the Department of Work and Pensions in the film were ex-workers. And many of them said how the system had changed. You know, some had been civil servants for 30 years, and they were embarrassed and ashamed at what management was making them do to the public. They're obsessed with the idea of footfall in Florida. They've always got a vocabulary for everything. Footfall. Footfall means human beings coming in, trying to get their rights and sign on. So there's a systematic campaign against the workers. There's people who are involved in the trade union all said, if you become active and involved, you'll not get promotion. And then you can see how the whole tide in the politics had changed within the workforce.
Yeah, I mean, just one simple thing just illustrates that absolutely. Some years back, people, if you went to a job centre, the person interviewing you could show you the jobs that you might be able to get, show you the jobs that were available. Now, they are not allowed to show you the jobs. They have the information on the screen. They can't actually turn the screen round and say, why didn't you try for that? And that epitomizes the attitude. We're not here to help you, we're here to punish you. And that's what's his name? The wee baldy, what's his name? That was his aim. Punishment, not support.
Good question from the chap on the end.
I just want to say thank you for a very important movie, because about 2 years ago I went through drug seeking and stuff like that, so I know exactly how honest it can be, so thank you for that. Given the Food for London campaign that the Evening Standard is doing at the moment, do you think, is there going to be an initiative to actually use this film as a springboard to actually more? I mean, is the film going to be enabled, something like that?
Interestingly, E1, the distributors, have been terrific about this. And once the film's been in the cinemas for a week or two, it'll be available on a DVD or some way of communities getting it and showing it at a very low cost, and to use as either a fundraiser or just to invite people, and to do it in the communities that wouldn't come to the cinemas, probably wouldn't go to an art house cinema. So there is a real determination that people can see it, you know, a community organisation can bring up someone at E1, I'll give you the name later, and Ben Metcalf, fine young man, he's waiting for your call at E1, and he'll make sure, if you want to show it, you can show it, room above a pub, football club bar, community centre, whatever, and just get people to rally round and use it, absolutely use it.
Absolutely. Katie, thank you so much for coming. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
We'll be sure to get Ben's details, and then if anyone needs them from E1, you can get them from Cable, from the FDA as well. Gentleman there.
All right, Paul. My name is Victor Fraga from League Movement. Well, I'd like to ask Ken. Well, we've got a new Prime Minister, and obviously a lot has changed in the past few months. Your film was finished long before all of that happened, and I get the impression that the rhetoric is becoming increasingly rabid against benefit seekers. Theresa May said something, perhaps not those words, but something to that effect. If you're milking the system, we're coming to get you. She did say we're coming to get you. It's something very remarkably similar to that. So, do you think that in the near future, the next year or two, we're going to see even less dignity and less self-respect?
Well, I think it's a really important question. I think economics drives this, and we know that with leaving the European Union, there will probably be a dip in economic activity. So this means that there will be either more unemployment or lower wages. I mean, it seems that they will try to attract more investment by making the workforce even more easy to exploit. So this means probably both lower wages and people more vulnerable. And in that situation, they will have to try to cut down the numbers receiving benefits or welfare or social security. So yes, that means the policies will continue. I mean, it seems to me, and this may be, people may feel this is going too far, but you know, hell, when you get old, you don't care really. And I think we're at a very important moment politically. I think you have the far right on the march, and we've seen the right-wing parties gather in strength. But I think there is an opportunity within the Labour movement there is a leadership that will support working class people. I think he will act, Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell and those with them, they will act to limit the intrusion to cut back the power of big business. They will abolish the assessments. They will look again at sanctions, which actually need to go entirely. And they will, the main thing is they will invest in work. And that's the key to everything, it seems to me, is when people have work, when they have a job that will sustain them and their families, when they can get a house and plan the future, then a lot of the tensions in society dissipate because people are secure. And when people are strong, then they're generous. You know, a lot of this issue of immigrants and